Hi everybody, it's Amy at Crafty Cat, and I thought I'd just come on today to show you my very first journal that I made, because I've had quite a few people saying that they've made ephemera and stuff and they don't know what to do now. They have lots of it, but they aren't really positive about how to make a journal, or maybe they don't have a lot of old papers or things like that. So I thought I would just come on because this was my first one, and I didn't have a whole lot of anything then either. I've just slowly been collecting stuff for a little over a year. I watched lots of Nick the Booksmith and lots of Gail Augustinelli, you know, to get ideas on how to do the binding and sew in signatures and just all that kind of thing. So, and a lot of it I just winged it because I really didn't know what I was doing, and I just did it. And so really, how expensive is all this stuff? It's time. Time is the killer with junk journaling. But if you have the time and you want to put it into making your own journal, then just do it, you know. This started as a book, you know, much like this, that the gut, I just took the guts out of it. It was bright orange. The entire cover was just this ugly bright orange color. And so I took tissue paper, like sewing pattern paper, the plain parts. I didn't use any of the parts with the like instruction or the cutting spots and all that on it. I just used the plain parts and tea bags. And I just decoupaged it on this book using Elmer's glue, water, well actually Elmer's glue, coffee, and you know, if I needed water to make it thinner, I did. But mainly that's all that I used. And then once it was all on here, I inked it and got it a little wet and moved the ink around and did all that. This is paper, scrapbook paper that I just had. And as you can see, I cut it, you know, a little diagonal off the side just to give it that look. But you can see back here, you can almost like see the tea bags, and I kind of crinkled them a little. I didn't try to make them perfectly flat because I didn't want them perfectly flat. So, and then I also added these little ridges that are in here, and I don't know how Nick the Booksmith does it. She has classes that you can take, and they'd be totally worth it, I'm sure, if you wanted to do that. But I just took pieces of chipboard and I just cut it to the width of the spine, and then glued them on, you know, where I wanted them. And then when I covered the paper over, I just made sure that I didn't stick down the sides. I just did the back first and made sure I got, you know, in all those creases. And I used my bone folder and, like, you know, rubbed in here and rubbed in there just to get it nice and smooth. And there's places where it's a little wrinkly, but it kind of matches the whole outside. So, and it's not perfect, but it's okay, you know, that a junk journal doesn't have to be perfect. That's kind of the awesome thing about it. And then I just added this little wood piece, and underneath it there's like an image that I got out of a National Geographic. So think about even things that you have, especially if you're going to use it for yourself. You don't have to worry about like copyright and those kind of things if you're not going to sell it. So there's just an image behind there from National Geographic that I cut to the same, you know, size, just so you can see some green and browns and stuff through this little thing. And I put some gold on here, and I just used ink. I believe it was the corduroy one by Tim Holtz. I can't remember what that one's called. But I mean, you could use Vintage Photo or, you know, whichever ink that you like. I just inked up that whole piece of wood because it was the lighter wood color. So that's just an example. And then I covered the inside with scrapbook paper. And if you've seen this journal, like if you've been with me from the beginning, then, you know, no worries. You can turn this off and do whatever. But I just thought, I have a lot of new people, and like I said, I've had lots of people saying that they don't have old stuff, and so I just wanted to show you that you don't have to. And so this is an image that I got online. They're actually, these two ladies wrote a book that I like. Let me grab it really quick. It's The Adventures of Madeline and Louisa, and these sisters, these two sisters, wrote this book, and it's just got all kinds of crazy pictures in it and stuff. And I did use some of the images from this because, again, I'm not selling this journal. This is my own personal journal. So yeah, I did use some of those images from that and put them in there. This one though I think I got online somewhere. I just looked up these two sisters. But you know, just whatever topic that you want to do. That's just what I wanted to do at the time. Here's a picture that they drew with the giant dragonfly. They're trying to catch it. And then these images I got off of Amazon. It's just one of those like scientific like illustration or botanical illustration type things. And I, you know, tore them. I did all kinds of stuff to them. I inked them. There's just a piece of lace glued down the side. On the back of it, I glued a coloring page that's a botanical coloring page. So that's something you can use. It's not old. And then this is just some flowers that I pressed and put into like a little glassine bag. And then this is just new composition notebook paper that I coffee stained a little. And this is a leaf that I actually dipped into my ink and used it like a stamp. And then I just stitched this piece by hand on here, just a needle and thread. And I am not a, you know, sewer. It just gives it some texture and some interest. And then I did stencil some things as well, like up here. And I just had a little stencil that I got like at Joann for $1 or something. It was not anything, you know, amazing. And then there's just another old image. And then this is from that coloring book, again, the botanical coloring book. And there was a whole story I did, and if you go watch the original video that I did on this, it's my Nick the Booksmith inspired junk journal is what I think I called that video. There's a little fake beetle inside of this tea bag, and I just hooked it on there. And then a couple of old images. And then this is just napkin and sewing pattern paper on another piece of like cardstock. That is, it kind of looks like handmade paper, but it wasn't. It was just regular cardstock. And then there's just a little tuck right there with these crazy images. And in that video, it's been almost a year now, so I can't exactly remember where I got this image, but I tell you where I found these images and things like that. This is a stamp that I have that I just stamped on there. I got it a little wet to give it that kind of, you know, speckly look. And a doily. Doilies you can find readily. This is a image out of the book that I liked with the dragonfly. And then this, as I did these journaling pages on video as well. These are family members, ancestors, whatever you want to call them. And I did like made that photo into a tuck and added fabric. And I did these after, you know, after I made the journal, so I didn't show all this at the same time. I actually did these ones on video. So that's just regular copy paper that I coffee stained. And then this is one of those botanical images that I got off of Amazon, and a Tim Holtz character or paper doll with wings. And then this is a regular envelope, and I had one of these books that has all the instructions on, you know, how to take care of certain plants or what they need, or, you know, all that stuff. And I just tore it out, coffee stained it, and I figured it's kind of a neat place to write. And then I coffee stained this envelope as well, but it was just a regular old envelope. It wasn't nothing old. Oh, that's my dad. And the lined paper and the printer paper coffee stained. This is stitched on here. A lot of these are videos that I did after I made this book, so this wasn't all complete. And it's still not complete. I still have loads of room in here to do stuff. I just really haven't had time. This is just an image I found online of beetles and this little funny thing. I kind of turned it into a journaling card, just hand stitched across the top. These are my dad and my sister. My dad and his sister when they were little. I mostly did family type images in this book because it's mine. And then this is a tea bag right here that I, see, you can see, it's a tea bag. And I just did different stitches with a sewing machine across there and put it back behind there just to add some interest. So that's something that you can do without having anything old. These are just things that I've written. These leaves I cut out. I traced actual leaves in the fall before they were completely dry. I just held them down on a piece of paper and traced them and cut them out. A doily, these are Ancestors, and I ran the ink right there. That's such a bummer when you do like a whole page. You can see it's kind of smudged here too. It was one of those gel pens, and it just smudged, but I love this image. And I'm not even sure who these ladies are. I mean, they're related to me, but I don't know their names, but I just love that picture. And then like down here I just did a little cluster. This is sewing pattern paper, a piece of fabric that's been cut and frayed and all kinds of stuff, and just a little like scrapbook piece of paper, and I just stapled it and stuck it down there. A doily. These are from my friend Allie. Hi Allie, the Cockney crafter. She made me these fabulous things and sent them to me, and this is Edith Holden, which is also a great thing that you can get a hold of fairly easily and use for ephemera or pages or whatever in your journals. So, you know, don't discount anything like that. Those are really nice things that Allie made for me. And then Allie made this too. I put lots of her things in here because it was the first Happy Mail that she ever sent me, and it was just so cool to get, you know, some things from England and stuff. So that was super fun. So I wanted to have a remembrance of it. And this is just a little card that I made, like a journaling area or whatever. So nothing much there. That's all new stuff. Composition notebook again. This is, I painted this, watercolored it kind of. What are those called? Oh my goodness, Lily of the Valley. Jeez. I painted those on a tea bag, and then just did some ribbon and rickrack and just hand stitched that on. That's part of that same clip that Allie did. This I did a video for, this little flip tag. It's one of my early videos. So it goes on both sides. It only flips on that other side. This side stays down. Coloring page from Amazon. These are images that I got from Amazon. That it was a different, it's a mushroom book instead of a botanical book, but I mean, same idea. They're kind of like magazine in a way. This is out of a National Geographic, and I just sanded it with sandpaper and then inked it, and I did some hand stitching, and it's just a little tuck spot. And right here I have one of the coloring pages that I just inked to make it look older. And that's in there. And then this is scrapbook paper. And then again, those images from Amazon. And stitch some fabric down the side. But if you don't stitch, you can just glue that stuff down. You don't even have to worry about that. And then see, this is another little pocket type page, but this is just coffee dyed printer paper. There's like doily marks, because if you stack your printer paper on doilies, you know, as it's drying after you dip it in the coffee and water mixture, you get, you know, some cool marks like that. And then this is scrapbook paper that I just stitched along the bottom and glued on the side, and just some little cards. This is a tea bag, and just some, you know, just some ephemera. It sounds like everybody's down with the ephemera, like they've got it. They're just concerned about like pages. So this is out of a book. It was actually the book that I took apart had some of these old images in it, and I just did a little collage right there. And then this is composition paper again. I kind of did a little pressing of a flower, and all I did was put the flower onto the paper, put another piece of paper over it, and rolled it with a rolling pin, and it kind of gives you almost like an eco-dyed image. And then this is paper that I've stamped, and once it got wet, it kind of all, you know, smeared or whatever you want to call it. This is from Allie, a little tuck spot there. And I just folded, actually, you know what, I didn't even fold this paper over. This was all the offcuts from the sides of the composition notebook that I cut to fit in this book. And I glued 3 of them together, you know, to make a tuck like that. So you can do stuff like that. This is a piece of tissue paper, and I just folded the side over and glued it at the bottom and at the top to make like a little tuck spot. A little tag in there. And this is really coffee stain. And then I also did that same thing I had. It was trumpet vine, and I put it between the 2 sheets, rolled it with the rolling pin, and so you can kind of see the leaves and stuff. I mean, those don't come out as good as like the actual eco dyeing, but I didn't think they turned out too bad. And this is a doily, obviously. And the other side of the tissue paper. So, I mean, some of this thicker tissue paper, you know, that has the print and it's a little bit silky on one side, I think it holds up pretty well for that. So, coffee dyed paper, that was the other side with where I did the same thing, the 3 little tabs that came off the sides of these papers. This is a little card from Allie, and it's a little book. So it's got little like pages in there too that you can write on. So that's super fun. And then I just put a paper clip there. And this little thing is also from Allie, a little tuck paper clip. And that's the other side of that book page. And then this is the other side of that pocket, and I just did another one of these. This is actually cereal bag, you know, the bag that comes in the cereal box. And so I just cut it to the size I wanted, stitched up the sides, left the strings hanging, and then there's just like a little thing in here with a mushroom and plant, you know, type things. And these are images from that book that I showed you that kind of the whole thing was based on. And then this little, it's just, this one I glued on. That one Allie sent as well. That's one of hers, and I just glued it on. Just like a little collage there. And then this is my mom and her mom. That's her mom, my mom. And my aunt, when she was here last year in the summer, she bought me that little, it was a hanky. And so I thought it'd be neat. I cut it up and put it in here. And I did videos on this as well. And this little flip tag. And you can put a little picture. So you can do it much like scrapbooking. And I know people have been concerned about, you know, this stuff isn't acid free, and it's not. But I used all photocopied images. So I'm not that worried about, you know, how they age or whatever, because I have the originals. So, and this is just a really small little tuck. This is the beginning of the second signature. That's the end of the first. So there's a little tuck, and I just did 2 different kinds of fabric. There's a bulb pin with this is just a big metal button hanging off. I did this in a video as well. This opens. This was Tracy Fox. I think I did this when I was trying to get on her design team. But there's little slits in there and a little tag in each little pocket. And I think I did put a picture on the back of one or something. Not sure. I don't know. Anyway, those just all sit in there, fold up, because that's Tracy Fox paper. But it went so well with this, you know, the theme that I had for this journal. And that's scrapbook paper that's inked. Another composition paper with the smashed flowers. This is a magazine page, again, National Geographic. And I think it was Tracy Fox that did this originally. I can't remember, it's been ages. But I covered the inside with coffee stained paper and then just made like a little writing tablet. I just stitched it in with the sewing machine right there. So that's a super easy little thing you can do. And then, oh, this is that, it's my raggedy corner that I made. It's the, like, a take of Nick the Booksmith's Raggedy. I just did a corner fold thing, and there's a whole video on that. It should go on this side so that it's standing up right like this. My 4th grade kids make those to put on, you know, as bookmarks. And so I made one that can go in there. So there's a video on that as well. And I'll try to remember to link some of this stuff. This is that stuff from Amazon, those botanical pages. And I found these really super cool images, and I can't remember the guy's name now. But it's in that video if you're interested. But they look old, but they're actual new, new illustrations, and he adds those bugs and stuff. I just thought they were so funny for this book. And then this is kind of a, this is made out of the brown paper bag stuff that comes on the rolls that you can get to paint and whatever. I just did like a little booklet, and there's a video on that as well. And then this is just, you know, to write on. I just put a little extra paper in there. A lot of it's the offcuts, and so there's a pocket in here with this 2 sisters. This is them in real life, and That's their drawing of themselves, and then there's writing space on the back. So that just tucks in there. So as you can totally see, I didn't use any old paper because I didn't have any at that time. So I just kind of used whatever I had. This is a Tim Holtz stamp. And this is the other side of that little tuck thing that I made. There's a pocket here, and there's this pocket. This is National Geographic magazine again that I sanded with sandpaper and inked. And then that's just washi and a index card. And it's put on, I can't remember what this was put on. Feels like index card, so that's what it may be. But it's a little bit thicker than just paper. And then this is from Allie. So I tucked that in there. And there's one of Tim Holtz paper dolls, and I just put a bug on her head, kind of like, you know, the images. And I found these ones, these images. I think these ones are old, but they were just funny because it's ladies dressed as, you know, butterfly and a flying beetle of some kind. That's that coloring page back there. And then this is another little like tuck spot that Allie made and sent me. She sent me so many goodies. And this is just a stamp. That's coffee stained paper. As you can see, I didn't get to doing much back here with butterfly. And that's the other side of that little pocket that I did with butterfly. And this is scrapbook paper back here, and that's just one of the images, but you can see it's scrapbook paper. So I didn't have any old stuff, and I just wanted to show this because I don't want people to be discouraged and think you have to have all this old stuff. You really don't, because, I mean, you know, it's not necessary. This is a page from this book. I just glued two sides, and then I did a little hand stitching along there with the fabric, and there's a little flower that I made and burlap. And then this is another image from National Geographic that I sanded and just put ink on, and I turned it into a tuck spot. And there's just coffee stain paper. I folded that that paper up and then coffee stained it, so it gives you kind of these weird different colored squares. And that's an image that I found online. And then that's more of that smashing the flowers thing. Some of them came out better than others. There's a little envelope from Allie. That's from Allie. I love that. All that stuff she sent me was perfect for this. That's why I put it all in here. Just a little tuck spot there. And this is regular coffee stain paper, middle of the signature. And yep, coffee, just notebook paper. This is from Allie. It's a little tuck spot. I just put it up there with the paper clip. Doily, this is vellum, and I just put a cutout of a butterfly. It's paper, and then there is a real flower that's been, you know, put between books to make it flat, but that's a real flower in there. That's not a real butterfly, just a paper one. And then little tuck spot. This is from Allie again. These just went perfect in here. This is just like one of these cards that you can journal on. They look like playing cards, but they're not. And I just stapled that moth on there. I mean, you can just do whatever. This is scrapbook paper on copy paper that's been coffee dyed. A little cluster right there. So anyway, I just want to say, just go for it. I would love to see what you guys come up with, because you definitely don't need old paper. There isn't anything in here that's old except, like Allie sent me the Edith Holden book page, and that's probably not even that old. I think those books came out in the 60s or 70s. I mean, her original drawings are very old, but you know, they've since remade those books. So, and of course the pictures in here are old because they're family members, but I just don't want people to be discouraged, because seriously, you don't have to have something old. And then another idea, I did a series of videos on, it's called Super Simple Composition Notebook Journal. So if you don't have a book, or you don't like the idea of cutting up a book or whatever, you can get a composition notebook. Just take the pages out, and all you do for that, and I go through that in those videos if you haven't seen them. But you just come right to the middle, snip all those little strings, and this paper will just lift right out. And then you can coffee stain it, and you can even just spray it with a squirt bottle with coffee. Like, this is coffee, water, and rubbing alcohol. And you can just seriously just spray it and let it dry out in the sun, or, you know, just let it dry. And you'll be all set. And then you can use this, you can cut it to whatever size you want, and you have already a spine, so you don't have to worry about trying to figure out how to do a spine. The one I did, I just covered this part. I didn't even cover the spine. So it's a really easy way to do a journal. That way you don't have to feel worried about a book or anything like that. You just use one of those because they're like 98 cents or whatever. So I hope that helps people. I really do, because I know it's kind of freaks you out and you're scared to do it, and I don't know why we get scared of that, but it's just a lot and it takes a lot of our time, so I totally understand, because I spend hours. That last journal that I made, my Diorio one, took me 32 hours, so, and that was an altered book. I didn't even sew in signatures, so, and that's not with prep time, like prepping, pulling out all the pages, gluing the pages together and all that. That doesn't even include that time. That was just the, like, the sheer decorating of it. So anyway, I understand it is scary, but just try it, and you might find that you're really good at it and you love it. So anyway, I hope that helped. I will talk to you guys later. Have an awesome day. Please like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye-bye.